After 25 long years of Star Wars sets, more X-Wings than I can count, and one very large pizza-shaped Death Star, yeah, this is the way. Let's build it. Have you ever just quietly stopped caring about something that you used to love? Like, there wasn't a big falling out or any dramatic moment, nothing like that. You just kinda drifted. That happened to me with Nickelback and Star Wars. And then out of nowhere, The Mandalorian showed up. I'm not being dramatic when I say that the show brought me back. There's something about a guy in a helmet who doesn't say much, taking care of a tiny, ancient, wrinkly little baby that just works. I didn't expect to care that much, and I ended up caring a lot, which feels good sometimes. And then the Mandalorian gets this ship, a beautiful, crazy fast silver rocket. As he's flying through the canyons at full speed, he looks down at those controls and thought exactly what any of us would have thought. Now this is pod racing. We start off our foundation building the nose, which is entirely silver. These pieces are quite shiny and look excellent. And for something that was taken apart and rebuilt from scratch, we've got to make sure that we have all the bones right. Every panel, every detail, and every engine is going to need that foundation that we're building on top of right now. As we tackle one of the first stickers, I'm going to take my time with it. These can be quite tricky. We have a design of a worn yellow stripe, like the ship has been somewhere and didn't come back looking perfect, which definitely matches the vibe that we're going for. Underneath, we have some Technic pieces that clip in and move around a little. They're doing more of the structural work here. For something as fast as this, we definitely don't want to have a flimsy ship. The front wings go on next, one on each side. These are much larger than I thought. And I've got to be honest, these move way more than I was expecting. I don't think this would pass a safety inspection, but that's just me. Let's talk about what this ship actually is for a second, because I think it's kind of wild. It's not a military ship, like, at all. It was specially ordered by the Queen of Naboo, Natalie Portman. Or was it Keira Knightley? Or the girl from Stranger Things? I get them all confused, but still, a queen was like, make me a cool-looking ship. And they were all built by hand, which is crazy if you have droids around. And they were built one at a time for a queen on a peaceful planet. And whoever designed it was thinking about water landings the entire time. Naboo is basically one giant ocean planet, so they gave it this curved, boat-like design. Because they were thinking about water, they didn't put any landing gear on it. Just think about that for a second. A ship with no landing gear, built by hand, ordered by a queen, designed around the idea that it would gently touch down on water somewhere on a beautiful, peaceful planet. And now we have a Mandalorian taking it out for a joyride on Tatooine. Star Wars is pretty crazy. This part of the build is all about the wear and tear. There's some paint damage and what looks to be a panel that never quite got fixed. And we also have a bunch of really thin, fragile pieces that you have to be careful with. Not the most exciting 5 minutes of your life, but you can't rush it, even though I sometimes do. But all of these details give this ship that makeshift look, which I can appreciate. We'll see more of that as the design continues on. This flexible piece on the bottom bends into position. It's part design, part structural support. I'm not going to stress test it, we're just going to let it do its thing. And now we're moving to the part of the ship that starts to have a real shape to it. All these curved pieces going on the side, and they all do exactly what they're supposed to do. Everything just gets smoother and sleeker as you go. It's very satisfying. When you build something like this firsthand, you'll never forget the details that you run into. We have some additional worn paint here as well, and it's the same idea as before. I get the idea that the ship has clearly been around and nobody was too concerned about parking in the last space of a parking lot, hoping that nobody dings the door. At least after that first ding, no one cares anymore. We have a lot of weathered damage on the ship, and every time it shows up, it's another reminder that this thing has a history, and it's been places. I do appreciate this section here that looks like whoever was building it ran out of panels and said, you know what, this is good enough. We have a lot of exposed mechanical stuff that gives it that unfinished look and feel. It definitely looks like a ship that got put back together by whoever had parts available, which that's kind of the whole point of this thing. And this design definitely does it justice. Lots of areas look a little unfinished and a little rough, and that's fine though, because we're not done. I don't think anybody knows how this specific ship ended up in a garage on Tatooine. As far as I know, there's no official answer. It's just kind of there. The timeline does work out that it could theoretically be the same ship that Anakin flew in The Phantom Menace. The creators have neither confirmed or denied it. They've just left that question sitting there. A 9-year-old saves an entire planet in one of these things, the ship disappears for 40 years, and then a Mandalorian finds it in a pile of junk on Tatooine. It's a bit suspect, but what do I know? Moving on, it's time to build the cockpit. We have a lot of intricate details that go on piece by piece. It's always interesting when we have a lot of variability to the build, and I would say that so far, this has delivered. It can be pretty easy for your mind to wander when you assemble these, and half the time I'm watching a TV show or a movie. But I will say that this is definitely a build that you need to pay attention to. It's pretty easy to put the wrong pieces into the wrong places, which actually ties in pretty well to the subject matter. I would imagine it's pretty difficult to build a ship like this from scratch, which does make the story arc pretty interesting for the TV show. Not only did they piece this together in a garage, but it ended up being extremely fast. And that is definitely impressive. Nothing makes me more nervous than putting a sticker on a giant window. You have to be careful. Any dust, any bubble, any slightly wrong angle, and you're going to know about it forever. Definitely a time to be a bit calculated. I've been fortunate to have built a lot of Star Wars sets. The X-Wing, the Razor Crest, Luke's speeder, the Mos Eisley Cantina. And if you're noticing a pattern, yeah, a lot of that is from Tatooine. Apparently, I have a Star Wars type. But this one feels different. It's not overwhelming like the Razor Crest, but it also feels special. It's something that I wasn't anticipating building this year, so it was a nice surprise. This show brought a lot of people back. Growing up, there was always something to look forward to in the Star Wars universe. And I do feel like we have lost that magic a little bit. So whenever it's rekindled, it's a pretty good feeling. While I give a quick shout out to my Patreon members, here's something worth knowing about our little green friend Grogu. He looks like a baby, acts like a baby, but he's 50 years old. And here's the part that gets me. He was born the same year as Anakin Skywalker. He lived through it all. The Clone Wars, Order 66, the Empire Rising, the Empire Falling, the whole thing. And then somehow he ends up with a Mandalorian who doesn't say much. Which, if you've had a rough 50 years, is probably the right call. At first, I wasn't quite sure what I was building here. I thought it was one of the engines on the side. It turns out to actually be a small thruster that's in the middle of the bottom of the ship. It's another one of those details that I'll notice and never forget when I see the real thing. The side engine is where it gets a little meticulous, with lots of small pieces, kind of fragile, and you just have to be patient with it. But it's also one of the more interesting parts of the build, and we've had plenty. But this is important to know. Both engines look slightly different from each other. It's not by accident either. This is a ship that got rebuilt from whatever parts were available, so one side doesn't quite match the other, and that's kind of the point. It looks like a scrapped together job because it was. They used whatever they had to quickly piece it together. Which, when you think about it, is exactly what makes this ship feel different from most Star Wars sets. It's not supposed to be perfect, it's supposed to be flying. But I will say that I'm glad that I'm not scrapping it together and that I can follow a very clear set of instructions. Because as we all know, I'm not an engineer. I'm a YouTuber that follows instructions. Star Wars has been around since 1977, with a bunch of movies, cartoons, video games, Lego sets, obviously. But an actual live-action TV show, The Mandalorian was the first one. After 42 years of existing, nobody had done that yet. And it's interesting because they didn't start with a Jedi or the Rebellion, but with a guy in a helmet that doesn't talk too much. And he gets paired up with a weird little creature that nobody knew existed until the last scene of the first episode. And for many fans, that was enough to hook you in. For a franchise that's been around for over 40 years, that's kind of remarkable. They had one shot to do that, and they nailed it. Attaching the bottom thruster along with the engine on the side feels like an accomplishment. We can place this up on the stand for this moment, but we're not done yet. But it is something that we should let sink in. Originally, I didn't think I was going to get into this show. I saw a Boba Fett type character just kind of wandering around the galaxy, and I wasn't too sure. And then they introduced what can only be described as Baby Yoda. But then that amazing theme song started playing. It got stuck in my head and I couldn't stop watching. And the show reminds me of why I loved Star Wars in the first place. It's the adventure, the weird little characters, and the idea that some guy in a beat-up ship can somehow save the day. And as we place everyone where they need to go, the Mandalorian is in the cockpit, Grogu is in his little bubble in the back, and after 25 years of Star Wars sets, yeah, this is the way And the build was indeed perfect. And thanks again to my Patreon members for supporting the video. I hope you enjoyed the build, and until next time, I will catch you in the next one.